The Power 2000 is DJI's newest, most powerful power station yet. Their original 500 and 1000 series power stations really impressed us when they first dropped. They were like a product that we didn't know we needed. After playing around with those ones at the lab, you could really tell that DJI was taking their time with R&D and putting a lot of effort into their units, so when we got the Power 2000 here at the lab, we had some pretty high expectations. So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. Since the launch of their first two power stations, DJI did exactly what we predicted they would do, and they accessorized. They have just released a ton of accessories for the 500, 1000, and even the 2000 power stations. They have one of the fastest alternator car chargers on the market. They have a dual solar and alternator charger. They have a ton of little SDC port adapters for different drones or for 12-volt car sockets, solar panel inputs. They got Wi-Fi dongles, they got expansion batteries, and they even make a hand truck so that you can bolt a Power 2000 with a couple expansion batteries to a nice little hand cart and wheel it around. They've gone crazy, and it's exactly what you would expect a company like DJI to do. And this all sounds great, but what we really wanted to find out was, amidst them just releasing things, were they able to keep up the quality with their newest release? Before we get into our experience with the Power 2000 after running it for a little bit here at the lab, as always, there is links to this thing as well as any coupon codes we can get out of DJI in the description down below. There's also links to our power station quiz, so if you're still unsure on what power station you might need, go ahead and take the quiz. Super easy. It'll spit you out a unit that we actually recommend based on your needs. Anyways, before we jump into our experience, we're gonna hit you with a super quick spec teardown in case you're not already up to speed on DJI's Power 2000. First up, this passes the tiny baby lift test. It weighs 48.5 pounds. It's got a 2048 watt-hour battery bank, which is double their 1000. And in terms of output, this has a 3000 watt inverter. When it comes to powering this guy up, you can charge it with a regular wall outlet in your house. It'll accept up to 1800 watts, which is pretty standard. It also has up to 1800 watts of solar input, which is really, really good. That's like almost as big as the battery. You could charge this thing in about an hour and a half with solar. That's probably the best solar input to battery ratio in a power station on the market right now. Taking a look at the ports on this guy, you got 4 USB-A's, 24 watts each. You got 2 140 watt USB-Cs and 2 65 watt USB-Cs. You got 3 regular 120 volt house plugs and a 30 amp plug, which is not a true 30 amp because it only outputs 3000 watts. It's more of a 25 amp plug. And then behind the little flaps, you got your charging port. So this is just to connect it to the wall plug. And then these are your 2 SDC ports. These are where you can plug in all your adapters, plug directly into drones to fast charge them, stuff like that. And that's it. Everything on this unit is directly on the front. What you see is what you get. The screen hasn't changed at all from their previous designs. It's really nice, it's really simple, and the app works great. It lets you control the unit from afar, adjust a couple settings, turn the unit on and off without actually having to physically touch it. Nothing crazy though. And when it comes to price, at the time of this video, this thing is on a pretty good sale for $1,099 before our discount code.
I don't know if we have one, but I'll try my best to get one for you guys.
Maybe less. Jumping into some of the things that we really like about the Power 2000, starting with the performance. It actually just performed really well in all the testing we put it through here at the lab. The fans, similar to the older units, are dead quiet. They're some of the quietest power stations that we have here at the lab. When you're running this thing at full tilt, you can barely hear it, which is nice because it's meant for creatives. And if you're using this in a room where you're filming, or if you're camping with it or something like that, you won't have to hear it, which is just a really nice pro. The idle test on this was about 17 watts. So if you were to just turn on the AC inverter like this and just leave it on, you're not running anything, you just forgot to turn it off, or maybe you have something on here that is finished charging and it's just sitting there, it'll still draw about 17 watts with that inverter just being on. But that's actually not too bad compared to the battery size. That'll last you just over 5 days, I think it was.
Yeah, you could turn the thing on and last you 5 days. Pretty good.
5 days just sitting here idling is pretty good. And in terms of the surging on this thing, it actually could handle 3600 watts just over and over and over again, which isn't, I don't think, as high as they advertise, but it's still pretty good. Usually once you just keep surging a unit, it starts to get worse and worse. This one's pretty consistently will do about 3600 watts. And of course, the UPS works really well. We also like that considering the size of the battery and inverter on this thing, it's actually a pretty small unit. Comparable products to this are much bigger and for some reason heavier. This is still a lithium iron phosphate battery, so it's not like they're using a cheap chemistry. It's very light, it's very compact for what you're getting. We also really like DJI's screen. It's simple, it's very bright, you can see it outdoors very easily, and it doesn't overwhelm you. It just tells you what you need to know. Everything is written clearly, legibly. It'll say things like full when it's done charging instead of just giving you numbers. It's a nice screen, it's nice to interact with. You feel like you understand the product pretty well. And it has these SDC ports. The old units had these as well, and these are something that we're also gonna say we don't like, but the SDC ports are cool because the point of them is that you can connect certain drones. I think there's accessories to be able to connect most drones now. You can connect certain drones and other DJI devices right to these and it'll fast charge them. It's a super nice, clean way to have accessories. It is kind of proprietary. It makes it so that you can't just plug a 12-volt adapter in. You need to run their 12-volt car socket adapter, but it is cool for fast charging drones and stuff like that you might already own. And the last thing we like is it's really just a simple unit. It's not trying to be anything it's not. It sounds familiar. If you have a drone or you have DJI products, you're used to hearing these sounds. It feels like a good quality product, and all the plugs are on the front. So the cool thing about this is you could jam it in the back of a car. You could have this anywhere you want where it's only accessible via the front, and you can still put power in and take power out. A lot of other power stations have plugs on the back, plugs on the side. This one's all forward facing, makes it really, really simple. The biggest thing that we don't like about the 2000 has to be the plug layout. It's just, a lot of people argue that upside down plugs are technically correct, and I understand why they did what they think they did. But the issue here is that when you plug things into this, they start to overlap. So if you have a grounded plug that runs like straight down instead of straight out, if you use this plug, the cord's gonna cover that plug. If you use this plug, it covers this one. If you use this one, it covers this one. If you plug a camera battery into this, which that's what a lot of people might be using a power station like this for, it covers basically every plug. Like, it's kind of not the best plug layout we've ever seen. There could have been a little bit more effort put into that. You're just gonna have to be a little bit more strategic with how you plug in things like a camera battery, because that will completely hoop basically all your plugs. The other thing that we don't love about this is there's no 12-volt car socket directly on the unit. There's also no light. If you guys have ever had a power station with a light, you know that it's a huge pro. And when you talk about the 12-volt car socket, a lot of camping accessories and stuff like that run on 12-volt car sockets. DJI does sell an accessory that goes in the SDC port. My issue with that is that every time you want to plug an accessory into the SDC port, you limit yourself down to one other remaining port. So the no 12-volt car socket and light bleeds directly into the other thing we don't like, which is that there's only 2 of these. They really should have just put separate solar input connectors or even an expansion battery port somewhere. Because if you have an expansion battery and it's running off one of these ports, now you have to choose if you want to run a 12-volt car socket or charge it with solar or charge your drone off of this or any other accessory that runs off these ports. While it's cool that they have these, it does become an extremely limiting thing. If you're trying to run solar into one of them and an expansion battery, you can't access a 12-volt car socket, charge a drone. I don't love that. So at the end of the day, we think this is a pretty good power station. If you're a creative or you're already in the DJI ecosystem, this is a good unit for you. If you're trying to use it for emergency backup power, or you're trying to buy it more for like a emergency situation when the lights go out, there might be better power stations on the market for that you don't need to spend extra money on all the accessories and adapters for. Personally, if I was gonna spend about $1,000 for emergency backup power at my house, I'd probably go with something like the Pecron F3000. It's only $999 and it's a bit of a bigger battery, bigger inverter, a little bit more capable for the money. But again, that's just if you're using it for that situation. If you're a creative or you're in the ecosystem, this is a great product and we would recommend it. Like we said earlier, we have the quiz in the description down below. It takes no time to do, spits out a recommendation for a unit that we would recommend for your needs. Anyways, that's all we got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged.